good evening. Hello. How are you guys doing? How is everyone holding up? Bitcoin moved 3%, so I'm sure everyone is in panic. We have a bunch to talk about today. The altcoins are actually holding up quite well, which is a little bit surprising, but I mean, we can talk about it in a bit. And obviously, Bitcoin broke down the range and it's now bouncing a little bit. Donna, I hope you're good. I'm pretty drunk because 1st May in Berlin. Yeah, the 1st of May in Germany goes hard. I'm all right, I think. Good evening, Don. Good evening. Well, before we start the show, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring it. Really appreciate their support. Their links are in the description. Go check them out. They've been excellent partners. Draw the lines to make it go up, please. There is actually no lines down here. Believe it or not, we are out of lines. But yeah, well, I will not gigafud you as my title suggests. Odds we make it to 37, they're quite low, I think, but we'll go over it. So high time frame. Nothing really happened on the high time frame. We had with a breakout month, a full retrace month. We're still at support on the monthly time frame. It's actually not that bad looking, and as long as the thing is, like, the monthly just opened obviously, and we're already trading at the range low, which is not the best in the world, but also, like, this is not the worst chart, right? This is quite bullish overall. If it pulls back and loses this support, I think there is a chance that we go towards like 45k ish, but we don't have to, right? Like, there's no guarantees that you get your deep pullback targets that you want. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. On the monthly time frame, technically speaking, we are at support, and it's more bullish than bearish, right? There's really not that much more to say about it. I think any close above 70k is probably gonna go towards 80, 90 ish, like 80, 90k. And like I said, any close below 57 is probably gonna go towards like 45 on the monthly time frame. But right now we are at support, and it's not like the monthly doesn't look that bad. The weekly time frame, honestly, even though today everything went to shit, actually it also doesn't really look that terrible. We are trading at 60, like just below 60k support, coming from the all-time high, like the previous all-time high, and we just kind of washed out below it today, which technically speaking it's not that bad. I like it much better than I liked it before. I told you guys basically when we were testing the support level that these repeated tests were kind of shit, right? Well, we wiped them out, and so that proved right. I was like, I think this is just gonna go. Now it has, and now we're in a little bit of a different situation where we at least have a chance to bounce. Doesn't mean it has to bounce, but we have a chance to bounce. So the weekly time frame, there's 4 more days in the week, but if it does close above 60k, I think it actually looks quite good, generally speaking. So the weekly time frame, not that bad. The monthly time frame, quite good. If 60k fails this week, which is possible, then I think the nearest support would be 52, and that would be a little bit of a deeper pullback. But overall, nothing to worry about on this time frame either. It wouldn't really be bad if it pulled back to 52, even on the monthly time frame, just because that would make it so we have a little bit of a wick below support. Totally fine still. The problems start coming in when you actually go to the daily time frame, and that has been what I've kind of talked about in the last weeks. I've been very vocal that I think this support down here is shit and is not gonna hold. And well, yesterday we broke it, today we broke it a little bit more. And this is where the bearishness comes from, right? And this is the time frame that is clearly bearish too, right? I don't know why I had so many people disagree with me on this, but we kept on making lower highs, we kept on grinding into support. Like, that's not a combination that you want to see. And when we tested it again, that was bound to break, right? So that turned out to be right. Had to wait a little bit for it, but here we are. Now, I said the weekly and the monthly, they're not that bad. The weekly time frame needs a little bit of repairing done. Like, it needs to close above 60K, which would be this week. So we would have to kind of rally back into this resistance on the daily time frame in the next 4 days. And then technically on the daily time frame, it would be a bearish retest, but I would actually not want to be shorting that. So I think generally, if we come back up towards like 60, 61, 62, there's a good chance that it's actually just going to break to the upside. The problems come in if it actually cannot do that, right? If we cannot get like even close to 60K, that would be bad news. Did the Don buy? No, I didn't. I was thinking about it, but I was like, I'm just going to give it a little bit of time. Because at the end of the day, right, like if this is a range here, this whole thing is a very clean range, and we have monthly and weekly not that bad, right, of charts. So if we reclaim this range, go above like 7, 8, 9, maybe 10% higher than where we are right now, I can still be bullish, and I will get the majority of the move, right? Because I think at that point we would go towards like 80 to 90K. So I'm willing to sit out 10% to gain 40%. But I was thinking about buying into the liquidations today, but was too lazy to do it. But yeah, like I said, the daily time frame, that's the one that's bearish, and it's clearly bearish. That would change if it reclaims the range low. And so we need to close above 60K for the weekly time frame to be bullish, and above 62 to flip the daily time frame. And if both of those are in alignment, we are at monthly support anyway. You can just full send it, I think. With both of those things not happened yet, it's a little bit of a risky one. I think it's much better. Like, today was a much better day to buy than it was during any of the previous weeks. So I've been fudding the range low non-stop on every single show for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. And yeah, now I'm saying like range low broke. I think it's actually safer to buy now than it was before. It's still not really risk defined, because where the fuck do you put your stop loss, right? You can be like, okay, the bottom has to be in today, but then, I mean, it could just, like on the lower time frames, it could just do something like this and then come back up, and then you stop at the bottom, right? So to find a good risk defined setup here is quite hard, I think. If we cross back above 62, I think it's gonna be quite easy. So that's why I prefer that trade. But I think the bullish trade is 10 times better than it was in the last weeks. Any questions? Yo, first time making it to live stream. What's good, guys? Nice to see you here, mate. What's good? What's good? Nothing's good, man. Price went down. No, I mean, everything's good. It's not really that, like today people were freaking out, but it's not really the worst day in the world. It's down a tiny bit. By the way, in your experience, have the blow off tops been way more euphoric than we've already experienced in this cycle? Not really, no. I think like it's always the sentiment of it cannot go down, and it's not really that euphoric. It's just like every top range that we've had has been kind of like this one. I'm not saying it's just like it's the same, but people have been like all over Twitter being like, oh, the market's not euphoric enough. I think it's been kind of like the exact same as other tops. We are definitely in euphoria territory, but it doesn't really matter. I can still make new highs and go get even more euphoric, because from start of euphoria to end of euphoria, it's a little bit of a range, and you can be euphoric for quite a while. But I think I don't really subscribe to the idea that it's not euphoric enough yet. I think that is nonsense. What are the odds of 50k this month? I have no idea. Don2 might be 3 months ago during one of your streams. You said the bottom for ETH might be 0.047. The bounce happened exactly right there, some time ago. And do you think this is it? Yeah, we'll talk about ETH. It's been putting in some nice moves. But that's not really too surprising, given, like I've been saying, like the moment Bitcoin is going to underperform, you're going to see ETH BTC outperformance, and that's exactly what's been happening. What if this was the top? Many people will be fucked, since the gospel is that we will see new all-time high. I mean, yeah, but that's always going to be the case. No matter where you top, the gospel is going to be like that. We're going to go higher. So it's just how it goes. I think it's not really super likely that the top's already in, but it's obviously possible. You're going to buy Bitcoin if it goes back up, or altcoins? That depends on how the market looks. I do like a few altcoin looks. I like ETH generally. It went low enough for me to be comfortable buying it over Bitcoin if I'm bullish Bitcoin. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. Made lower highs. High time frames still very good. Low time frames obviously not. Like it keeps on confirming this downtrend. I think the moment we reclaim the range, you have to be bullish though. And like right now on lower time frames, you have a little bit of bullish price action. I don't even need to open Twitter for people to be like euphoric again. It's not bad price actions coming from the S&P, but I wouldn't be too excited just yet. But if it goes back above 62k, that'd be a really, really good first step. FOMO in, yeah. I mean, a lot of people get liquidated and then just FOMO in. Is how it goes, because they're like, fuck, but I have a second chance. Can you show us the Bitcoin range reclaim play? It does something like this. It reclaims, it closes somewhere here. You buy either the close, or if you feel like you're gonna get a pullback, the pullback. You have a stop loss somewhere down here on the lower high that may or may not come, and your target is 80k. And then it probably is gonna do something like this. Like pretty straightforward. This range is reclaimed. I think it's a pretty straightforward play. But yeah, there's some nice action. Like there's some nice low time frame, strong chat candles, to be fair. Can't listen to the stream now because I'm out celebrating. I freaking love you, Doug. 100k realized P&L on my Bitcoin short. Congrats, man. Happy for you. I lost FOMO Doge at the top. Can I do it again now? Oh, are you the guy that asked me, like told me that he bought Doge at the Pico resistance? If yes, I mean, it's a little bit better now. We'll talk about Doge in a sec. Hi Dawn, isn't it a bit concerning that altcoins are performing so well? I'm thinking that altcoins should be struggling, and only then would it be a good buying opportunity. Not necessarily. Like, I don't know, like I feel like on this breakdown, right? And this is coming from resident bear that has been bearish the entire time. On this breakdown, people are really trying to be bearish now, right? Like people are really trying to be bullish. Now on this breakdown, people are really trying to be bearish. Now, obviously, it's not the best that you're gonna, like, that a lot of people already move into the altcoins, but that's just basically, and I mean, like this hilarious price action, and basically, it's just because people are like, this could be the bottom of it all, and let me just bet on these altcoins instead of Bitcoin. I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world. What about ETH-BTC? We can talk about it. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm back. ETH-BTC. So ETH-BTC still obviously looks shit on the high time frames. Nothing's changed there really. The weekly time frame is actually what looks the best, I think, on this time frame. On ETH, not on this time frame. It broke down and then reclaimed, and it's kind of hanging out while other altcoins have just been going to the shitter. Don't know where all these X's come from. I was probably just talking about interesting levels. Anyway, it's been having nice price action lately, and the reason why is because Bitcoin's been struggling, like I said. If Bitcoin continues to struggle, I think this could keep creeping up, and it's gonna be an excellent buy generally. I genuinely think the ETH underperformance is gonna be over quite soon. It's just a question of whether you're gonna get capitulation lower, or if it's just gonna creep up and then go higher. I don't know yet. I would prefer the capitulation, but I'm also ready to get on board on ETH generally. Like, it's been missing out the entire cycle. I think if we get a push higher, like if Bitcoin reclaims 62K, I might actually just bet on ETH this time around. So I don't hate it. Like, this is not a bad chart right now. It's the best it's looked, basically. It's a range reclaim-ish, not the prettiest. Could just lose it again. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst chart. And the recent price action has been quite nice. This is the weekly level. So if you're wondering where the bounce comes from, there you go. So yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it. And especially given, like, if this is a false breakdown on Bitcoin, which is possible, right? Like, I was like, this is going to break down on Bitcoin. This range is going to break down because it was just quite obvious. But now that it's broken down, this could very well be a false breakdown. Doesn't have to be one. Like, it can also just start trending down. But at least we have the chance to go up now, because that could just be the wipeout that we needed, and now we go higher. And if that is the case, ETH-USD is actually, with this new wipeout, actually set up quite nicely for it. So if the weekly closes above 3K this week, we held the onslaught of the bears, and then we can talk about maybe going back to 4K. So I'm more bullish on ETH than I have been in, almost years at this point. It's just, like I said, I think it's the question of whether you get like a capitulation, but then I think it's going to be very quickly higher than it is currently, or if you just start creeping up. One or the other. I'm not entirely sure which one it is going to be. What are your Bitcoin and ETH targets for the next 5 years? I don't really have that. Like, I don't look that far in advance, and I'm not really I'm not the biggest bull on crypto longer term, so I always just take it year by year, basically. Have you bought more Doge during this dip, or are you strictly waiting for the price to hit 0.1? I haven't bought more Doge, but we can talk about Doge real quick. So Doge USD, we talked about this when it ran into resistance, right? The nice chap in the chat talked about it. He was buying. He's like, I'm gonna FOMO Doge at 0.22 or something. I was like, I mean, this is the monthly resistance that you might actually not would want to buy into. Well, now we're back at support, right? So I don't find this bad on the Doge front. I just haven't bought more. It also basically hit weekly support. So, I mean, if you bought Doge, I think this is a much better place than it was at the Pico top. But I would prefer buying a little bit lower. But maybe I don't get it. And then I will have to chase. Like, I'm willing to buy into 0.15, 0.16 or something. Tears in my eyes right now. Why? Because of the ETH talk? I didn't say it's gonna go up. I'm just saying it's better, much better than it was previously. Bitcoin, ETH, and Pepe, the only list. What do you think, Don? I actually don't dislike it. Hi, Don. What do you think of the S&P and the Nasdaq? Daily isn't looking that good. I don't really think about it too much. I mean, the weekly doesn't look that bad. Daily doesn't look that bad. But yeah, I'm more a crypto kind of guy. It's very hard to say. What do you mean by you're not that bullish on crypto? Do you think the market will bleed out in the next years? I think the market could just disappear at any point. Like, the meme could end. Now, like, not short term. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, in 3 months it's gonna be all over. But like, the next bear market could be the last before it just kind of bleeds out. Could also just turn into something. But so far I haven't really seen anything convincing on the crypto side of things. So I'm just here for the money, not here for crypto. And I mean, that's cost me in the long run. I could have made more money, I think, if I was like more positive on the market as a whole, but I would have also lost much more. So it makes me be able to trade this market a little bit more cautiously, because I'm like, if I'm not in it and it goes up, whatever, yeah, it's easier for me to trade it. But I am just generally like more pessimist on the crypto front. Optimist in everything else. Crypto, really haven't seen much that excites me. But that might change, and then I might be like hyper bullish crypto. But for me, like it's because it's the best market to trade. It's fun. Like, that's why I'm here, right? Like, it's the best market to trade. It's fun. It's easy in comparison to pretty much any other market, in my opinion, and you make much more money than anywhere else. So, but I'm not the big believer in any of this stuff. You don't think institutional investing will pump crypto long term? I mean, it could, but at some point this is gonna be big enough, and then it's not gonna be like you're gonna get the outsized returns that you're gonna get anyway, like right now. And then I think there's better things to invest in. I don't really think I would want to do this like for the rest. Like, I mean, I'm down to trade this for the rest of my life, but if I was like an investor, I'm investing for the next 20 years. I don't really see it. Not even in Bitcoin, not really, no. I mean, Bitcoin is cool. Bitcoin is cooler than gold. But like, if I was someone that was interested in gold, okay, then I'd be interested in Bitcoin. I would be like, why the fuck am I holding gold? Bitcoin is superior in any other, in every way. But I find gold to be one of the dumbest investments possible, unless you're in a country that is like on the brink of collapse, and then might as well have Bitcoin, because that's much better in that instance. Unless you have like, you think that you're not going to have internet, you're not going to have electricity, but then in that instance, running around with a gold bar in your pocket is probably also fucked, right? So for me, Bitcoin is better than gold, so it has upside. That's the fundamental upside that I see in Bitcoin, just because it could replace most of that, in my opinion. But other than that, I'm not really a believer, no. If you bought the lows today, do you think you would exit here or let it ride and believe? I would exit. I would exit and re-enter above 62. But just because, I mean, I had that opportunity and I was thinking about it. I was like, do I want to be buying these liquidations? And I was like, nah, I would have to sell into like barely higher because the resistance is so close. All in AI stocks then, got it. Yeah. I mean, that actually might become an interesting field. Not sure if it is yet. Like optimist that there won't be countries on the brink of financial collapse. I mean, there will be. And I think for those countries, and you can kind of see that coming. I mean, countries where you have massive inflation, whatever, it's pretty obvious that they're kind of like struggling. And in those cases, you might want to have a hedge. But if you're living in the US, in Europe, in other first world countries, I wouldn't be so worried about that. And then I think, like from a fundamental, like I think generally you can make a lot of money in crypto, and it's dumb to, as a trader, it's very like it's the easiest market to trade. So like if you're already trading, might as well trade crypto because it's the best market. But if you're like an investor kind of guy, it's a little bit of a different story. But yeah, there we go. Bitcoin kind of doing its thing right now. That's gonna be an interesting one down the line. Like I said, look at the daily time frame above 62k. I think it's gonna giga chad. Below, I'd be a little bit cautious. But yeah, I'm not like I'm more positive than I was a week ago. That doesn't mean I'm positive. It just means like a week ago it was pretty obvious that this was gonna break down. Yeah, ETH, same story. If Bitcoin breaks above 62, I think ETH's gonna be a buy. And if that isn't happening, I think it's still gonna be down USD. Like if this is breakdown and you buy ETH now, even if ETH BTC outperforms, which I think it could, you're not gonna make much money, right? So that's not necessarily the way to go, at least in my eyes. Unless you get bullishness, because I think this could be the one time where you actually get ETH BTC outperformance if Bitcoin is bullish. But for that, it would have to be bullish first. Who faded the green 1 minute candle? Yeah. Sold bouncing quite hard today. Still looks kind of shit though, not gonna lie. On the Bitcoin pair, it's at support, but back at that support. Same story as Bitcoin before its breakdown. Maybe it holds, but that's not something I would want to bet on. And if it bounces, I think something that I would be willing to bet on is that it breaks down from there. But who the fuck knows? I certainly don't. And on the USD pair, it's trying really hard to hold 135. And that's actually the better looking pair. The Sol BTC pair kind of looks like shit. This is a little bit ETH stylish. So I think generally, like Bitcoin reclaims 62. You can bid all of this. Until it does, it's a little bit dangerous. Like it's still all barely holding on. Like same with ETH. Like technically we're trading below support. So it needs to kind of close above that. Solana, same story, technically still trading below. Bitcoin obviously trading below. So needs a little bit. It's gonna be interesting how the weekly closes basically. Like the Bitcoin weekly and daily close, gonna decide where this thing, like where the entire market goes, as always. Can you look at WIF? We can, yes, we can. Oh, I'm such a genius. Look at me. Duck got lucky again. Look at that. I was like, 3.2 is the line in the sand. You guys remember? And that worked quite nicely. Did he look at Doge already? No, but somewhat, but we will look at it properly in a sec. Yeah, that worked out quite nicely, no? I was like, be bearish on this unless it closes above 3.2. And it got rejected at 3.2 and went all the way back to range low. Not interesting. Not interesting. I think 3.2 is still the line in the sand, but that's still, like, this is a downtrend. And it's a meme coin on Solana. So it's a meme coin on a meme. And I think that's a lot of leverage for how the market looks right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you have Pepe on ETH, you have a meme coin on a non-joke, like chain, whatever. But if you have like a meme on a meme, like it gets a little bit leveraged, in my opinion. So, but I don't know. Like, I think, and this is something that I will maintain. I think Pepe, if you want to have whiff, you might as well have Pepe. Like, that just seems so much better. But it has a cute hat. Yeah, I mean, that is the one bullish case. But I think generally whiff compared to Pepe, I don't know how they've been doing price-wise, but I would always pick Pepe in this instance. Let me check. Yeah, Pepe has been outperforming, and I think that is probably going to continue. Don, would you have a look at Ondo? No, thank you. Sorry. Don, do you think Bitcoin could reclaim 62K but take longer than this week, like in a couple of weeks? Yeah. I mean, it can take a while. That'd be the best case, I think. Hey Don, are you on this fantasy top thing? What's your opinion about that? No, I don't. I think you mean the card thing where like people have like these trading cards, whatever. If yes, no. Apologize now. Solana is not a meme. I mean, I was just saying it to ruffle some feathers, but it is a little bit still in comparison to ETH. I think it is, but doesn't really matter. Like what I believe or not believe, especially fundamentally, really doesn't matter. I'm a boomer on this. But for me, Solana is still a meme chain. Might as well trade on BNB, really. Like it's just like we had the whole Binance coin, like Binance chain stuff in 2020. Solana was this cycle around, but I think that's a one hit cycle wonder basically, and then you're gonna get another thing next cycle. And then another one, and another one, and another one. Hi Don, can you please look at a link? Do I have it still in the... I don't even have it in the watch list anymore, I think. I mean, that's... Oof. Never mind. This is such a fucked thing. We don't need all of that. Look at that. It just refused to make a new high. Link was like, fuck this. We stay in a downtrend, bros. We stay in a downtrend. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look that great. It looks better than a lot of other altcoins because other altcoins are just at zero, but it doesn't look that great. It's still in a downtrend. And I mean, it's close to where it's bottomed before. So I think generally, like if you want to be bullish and you want to see like a little bit of strength above, like here maybe, but that's a little bit of a brutal chart. Ceiling foundation selling again, dumping on the linkies, on the stinky linkies. I don't actually know. I know that they did for a long time, but I don't know if they're still doing it. Is the Uni swap play cooked? It was cooked the moment, basically. I think Uni is a really interesting, was a really interesting play, but the moment basically the SEC went after them, it makes it so that this cycle it's not gonna be too interesting. I think just because people aren't gonna be like, why would I wanna bet on uni while it's up in the air where that's gonna go. I think uni is gonna be the exact same play as XRP was. I made a bunch of money on the XRP play. If you guys remember this, where like close to the sentencing, I think you can bet on uni, but yeah, it's a little bit tainted for the cycle, I think. Link is a meme. Yeah, I don't dare to say that because the stinky linkies are even more aggressive than the Solana manlets. But what would be the play if Bitcoin had it lower? Not being in the market, not holding anything. And I think like at the end of the day, we did have a break, like a range breakdown. So like on the low time frames, so far there's no real reason to jump back in. So the play, if you think that the market's heading lower, is just not being in the market. Will Feds ease on interest rates next meeting? I mean, I don't know. Why are you asking me? I think you misunderstood who I am. I have no idea. But aren't you God? No, I'm a duck. Ducks, unless you think ducks are gods. Maybe you should build a shrine, like a duck shrine. Put a candle in front of it. Maybe it'll help. Which levels are you buying? I would buy a wipeout into 52 on Bitcoin or a reclaim of 62. And if Bitcoin reclaims, like if Bitcoin does any of those, I'll probably buy ETH. What is the lowest time frame you would trade? The daily time frame. Like I might look for like entries on the 1 hour or 4 hour specifically, but if I don't see anything on the daily time frame that interests me, I'll not be bothered. How's the little duck doing? She's doing all right. Very cute. You got to me. Stop it. There is a fan club of like a DonAlt fan club somewhere out there, and I don't know what to do with it. Like that is terrifying to me. But you guys do you. It's just like I'm just a regular guy doing regular things, and I'm sometimes right about the market and sometimes wrong. The only thing that really matters is that I think employ somewhat cohesive logic. But yeah. XRP BTC give us a bottom, dude. That shit's so cursed. But and we talked about this actually last week. I was like, it's actually like weirdly bouncing. But I mean that's brutal. I'm not gonna lie, I do like the altcoins for this next, like if we get a next leg, like obviously if we get Bitcoin lower, I think everything goes lower, but the moment Bitcoin catches a bid, I might actually buy like some Bitcoin Cash, some Litecoin, might even buy some XRP just for the hell of it. We'll see. Looking at BNB, I like BNB. Like I don't like Binance, but I like the BNB chart. Like this is BNB USD. It's basically begging to break out. I think a dip on this would just be a buy. Like anything below 450 would start looking a little bit dicey, but just generally this just looks very strong. And then if you go on the BTC pair, you see what absolute dominance looks like. Like that's actually like a really good looking chart. So if you actually want to have a coin that looks good, right? We looked at Link and I was like, this just doesn't look that good. BNB is one of them. That just looks excellent. Can you please look at Tron? No. No. It's enough, my friends. It's enough. Do you want me to have nightmares tonight? Sleep poorly. I agree, Duck. It's hard coded into every trader. You don't buy Dino coins, but they're the ones that could get an ETF. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like. There might be some action on the ETF front there, but we'll see. Okay, enough with the altcoins. I had link here. What am I saying? Dogecoin. I promised Dogecoin. Doge BTC is at support, which I think is interesting. Look here, it's the monthly support. And it is at monthly USD support as well. So like just generally it's at both supports, but both of those months just opened and could very well wick, right? So for Doge, for example, you could easily get a wick towards 0.1, wiping people out and then go higher. Doge USD and Doge BTC, you could easily wick lower and then go higher. So both of these, I think, have a chance to go lower first. But I was very vocal about like telling that guy that he probably shouldn't be buying or chasing Doge at 0.2, 0.22. I think right now it's 0.12. It's actually not a bad play. And then basically, and as dumb as that trade looks, I think the trade would be this. Oop. So you're in somewhere here, right? And you stop out here and you target here. And that's an absurd risk to reward and just generally not that unlikely to hit, I think, if the cycle is not over yet. And I think the cycle not being over, like I think the cycle, like I think there's like maybe a 20% chance that the top's in, 10 to 20%, right? And if the top is not in for Bitcoin, I think Dogecoin will go to 1. So I think like even if you're like, okay, maybe it's gonna be only a Bitcoin run and Doge is not gonna pick up and like the meme coins are gonna be skipped, whatever. Even if you think that, like let's say, like I think this play has like a 50-50 to play out. So I don't think it's a bad bet. There's a chance that it's not gonna make money. I have 50% chance, I think, roughly. But if you're gonna make money, you're gonna make a lot of it. And if you're gonna lose money, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be like the stop loss is quite wide, but otherwise you're just gonna lose your money, I think. Might even be better to get in a little bit lower and have it like this, whatever. But that play seems not too insane to me. How do I cope being a cuck ETH holder? I mean, you've held this long. Might as well hold a little bit longer, right? Like ETH's been shit for what? Like since 2021, December 2021. Like you've been actively cucked for 3 years. I mean, if you haven't sold yet, it's just how it is. Are you happy with your purchase for 0.15 even if you don't get 0.1? Yeah, I mean, I will just chase it higher. I don't have a problem with chasing it higher. Like I don't have a problem with buying it at 0.15 again. Just stocking up a little bit. That's the great part. Like that's the great part about like buying a little. It just makes you like play around with it a little bit more, right? Like it's easier to chase into something if you already have some of it. It's like just generally makes it a little bit easier. Retard hedges worth. No. We're moving the market, my friends. Like I was like, oh, it doesn't look that bad at the beginning of the show, and then it rallied like 2000, and then someone asked like, what would you do? Would you hold or sell? And then I said I would sell, and just rebuy at 62, and it's dumped like another 1.5k since. It is cursed. I'm sorry, it's not my fault. But
yeah, good old 5-minute chart. Cannot believe some people sit here staring at this all day long. Very impressive. But yeah, I think that's it. We don't need to talk about any specific altcoins. We can do that maybe tomorrow on the altcoin stream. And yeah, some people. I know I just kind of should talk like 90% of the chat. No, it's all good. I did that at the beginning too. It's a little bit of a waste of time. Gonna make you trade less good, I think, in the long run. But I totally understand. I did it too. Love Don with the name of Love Don said Love Don. Well, you're committed at least. Yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Big shout out to Woo for sponsoring the show. Cred and I might do the altcoin show tomorrow. And then we'll talk more about the altcoins. I find them quite interesting. They're quite volatile. I mean, XRP BTC up 10% today. That's quite hilarious. So yeah, there might be something to talk about there. And yeah, thank you for coming by. Hope you had a good day. And like I said, we'll hear from each other tomorrow or at the latest on Friday. See you guys. Bye.